Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum was launched to inform, inspire, motivate diverse talent to join the energy workforce by intentional recognition of current female energy leaders who contribute to growing Florida's economy and the purposeful sharing of their professional journeys. We are creating opportunity. Join me each week as we meet new leaders in energy and listen to their important roles in an industry that is vital to the country's future. Good morning, and this is Lila Jaber. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm thrilled to have our two guests today. It's a little bit of a reunion here with Bryan Batson and Shannon Pierce. Let me officially introduce them, not just as my friends, but they do have day jobs, very important day jobs. Let's see. Bryan is the Executive Vice President of External Affairs and Chief Public Affairs Officer for Southern Company Gas. And Shannon Pierce is the Vice President of Growth and Chief External Affairs Officer for SouthStar Energy Services, which in Florida operates as Florida Natural Gas. Oh, man, great titles for really saying that you're both responsible for the external outreach for your respective companies. And Shannon, that Bryan still has his finger on the pulse on all things natural gas. So he's stuck with us, isn't he, Shannon?
Yes, he is.
He's stuck with us. So I can't wait for our audience to dig deeper into what the two of you do. And I thought we'd start there, Bryan. Do you want to explain the relationship between your companies and how Southern Company Gas intersects with Florida Natural Gas?
Sure. I'll give you a little bit of a quick history lesson. First, let me say it started as Atlanta Gas Light, which many of you know that name. It's the oldest corporation in Georgia, established in 1856. I was not there, despite some of what my friends might say to me about being there when it started. I was there when it was just Atlanta Gas Light. It became a holding company called AGL Resources, and through that we added additional utilities. And at one time, it was City Gas of Florida, which was now Florida City Gas, was one of the utilities in our group. Once we were sold in 2016, Southern Company, the holding company, the large holding company, bought us, and we are the Southern Company Gas. So if you looked at Southern Company, there are electric utilities in several different states, between Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And then there's also the Southern Company Gas, which has 4 natural gas utilities spread across various states, including Illinois, Virginia, Georgia, and Tennessee. So that's how we're sort of structured and set up, Lila. So that's how we sort of interact in our space.
That's great. And Shannon, this is a new role for you. We'll talk about how the three of us met shortly, but for purposes of understanding what Florida Natural Gas does under the SouthStar name, this is very different for you in terms of your energy career. So what does your job entail now?
So Bryan talks about the utility side of our business. I am in the retail natural gas marketing side of our business. We are SouthStar Energy Services, as you mentioned earlier, and we operate in Florida as Florida Natural Gas. We operate in Georgia as Georgia Natural Gas, and we actually are in about 11 states across the country, providing retail natural gas marketing services to our customers. I've been in the role for about a year now. A few days ago was my 1-year anniversary, and I'm really enjoying being in this part of our business. I spent my previous 20-something years primarily on the utility side of the business. And I now get to leverage my previous experience on the retail side and learning a lot. I have sort of 3 hats that I wear. The growth piece is really focused on how do we create value-driven relationships to help us drive new products and services and expand into new markets. And I'm also responsible for our ongoing strategic planning process. I have operational responsibility for our B2B segment, which again, that has allowed me to come back to Florida after being away for 2 years, because the competitive market in Florida is open to commercial and industrial customers, unlike our market in Georgia, which also has residential customers. And then the external affairs piece goes back to my experience in times when you and I got to work together very closely. I'm responsible for regulatory affairs and governmental affairs strategy, but also working to lead our efforts to continue to enhance our relationships in our communities where we serve, being what we call a citizen wherever we serve.
You know, one of the things, Shannon, I've noticed with all of the guests that we've had on the show, and obviously many of the energy executives have one thing in common. They have many things in common, but what you each have in common is the willingness to move around the organization. And I hope the viewers and the listeners really are picking up on that, none of you have gotten to where you are by really taking a status quo look at your careers. You've all been willing to step out of the comfort zone and take on leadership positions within the different organizations of your structure. And so, Shannon, you have an interesting career path that you don't come across often. You want to kind of take us back to the beginning. How did you get into the energy career?
So as we were talking earlier before we got started today, I am a recovering lawyer. Since the fourth grade, that's all I ever wanted to be. And that was my plan. And I got the opportunity to go to law school and get a great job at a law firm called McGuire Woods. And it's based in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Virginia. And I was thrilled to get this role. I had worked there during the summer prior to them offering me a permanent position. And I knew that I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. But what I did not know was that they had an energy and utilities practice. And when I was told that that was the team I would be joining, frankly, I was baffled because I thought, one, I didn't know there was an energy and utilities practice, didn't know what that meant. I thought I may need a particular science background, like patent lawyers need a technical degree, a degree to be a patent lawyer. And I was an English major, so I thought it was a mistake. And they said, no, it's not a mistake. Trust us. It's a great practice group. It's a great area of the business to be in. So just trust us. And frankly, at that time, that was the only job offer I had, so I trusted them.
I thought she was going to say, Bryan, then she met you and realized, no, you didn't have to have that degree.
That would have been true.
But to keep it short, I thought that I enjoyed the practice of law. After spending 3 years at the law firm, I got the chance to go to AGL Resources, who was the client of the firm, and enjoyed representing AGL on FERC-related matters and matters related to interstate pipelines. And talking about being in that comfort zone, I was very comfortable in the legal department and comfortable with what I was doing. But thankfully, there were some folks who knew much better than me that there were tremendous opportunities outside of the law department that could leverage my skills that I obtained in the practice of law and use them in other parts of the business. And I got support and sponsorship to join the regulatory affairs team, and that which also included marketer services. So you see how things kind of come full circle. Did that role for about 5 years, working with Bryan when he was the president of Atlanta Gas Light, Chattanooga Gas, and Florida City Gas, and represented us and worked with a team of wonderful professionals across our business in regulatory affairs. And then after a few years, folks started, putting bugs in my ear about how do I continue to grow in my leadership? How do I continue to stretch myself and continue to grow with the company as the company grew? And I was given an opportunity to go to Illinois to work as one of 3 utility vice presidents of operations at Nicor Gas. And folks in Florida may remember Melvin Williams, who at one time led operations at Florida City Gas, where he was the president of Nicor Gas. And I got an opportunity to join his leadership team and spend 2 wonderful years in utility operations and getting close to the pipe, as we say, and working with our front employees to make sure that we're providing safe, reliable, and affordable natural gas service to our customers every day. And then after about 2 years, I got the opportunity to come to SouthStar. And I joined the SouthStar team in July of 2020 in the middle of a pandemic, which presented its own unique challenges and
Yeah,
opportunities.
absolutely.
But it's been a fantastic move. I continue to learn as I'm leading and really enjoying working with the team at SouthStar as we to grow that business in the footprint that we serve, including in Florida.
Shannon, we've got our first audience question. This person would like to know if at any point in those opportunities you've first questioned your ability to take on the role.
Oh, absolutely. I think that anyone that would not be truthful if they didn't start to think when you're looking at a role that's not a part of the plan, maybe you had set out for yourself, not a part of the career path you thought you were going to be on. I mean, if I said that I had no doubts, I would be less than truthful with you. But the wonderful thing about that I have developed in this industry, in this village of support that I have gained internally and externally, is that folks told me that, no, you can do this. Particularly when I joined the operations team. When I was in regulatory affairs, it was a different type of role for me, but I was a regulatory lawyer, so it wasn't that big of a stretch.
Right.
And frankly, in our company at Southern Company Gas, we didn't have a history of lawyers going into operations. And so I was also sort of one of the first to kind of step out there. I had folks who supported me to help me understand that, one, I had that support.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going at this alone. And two, I was transparent, with my team that, while I bring certain attributes and leadership to this role, I'm also here to learn. And I value the experience they bring and learning from them. And that partnership as a team that we developed really was tremendous in my in having a leadership experience that really made me a much better leader when I left that role than I was when I joined.
Yeah, absolutely. Great lessons there, Shannon, about, so when you do transition into the new role, how do you react and encourage that team building within the organization where maybe those employees have even more knowledge than you do? So it takes a village is what we always say, right?
Absolutely.
So Bryan, full disclosure, you and I have known each other now for a long time because you took a chance on me very, very long ago. I tease you about your ability to pluck people out and really provide an opportunity. I remember you and I had never met. I didn't really, as a regulator, have a lot of experience in natural gas issues at the time, and wasn't very familiar with your company at all because you weren't then operating in Florida. You had acquired recently. I mean, you were in the process of wanting to acquire a Florida company. It's how you and I were introduced to one another. And what I noticed about you right away was your ability to recognize talent, your generosity in bringing people along and really sharing information. And not many leaders, Bryan, I don't say that obviously just because you're here with us today. I speak about you behind your back this way too, Bryan, that it really is a sign of leadership to show that generosity and taking the time to bring people along and educate them and provide that opportunity. I know that that's what you do day in and day out, and I know that that's important to you. But help me understand, what is it you look for in people and why this is so important to you?
Well, thanks for the kind words, Lila. I mean, been in the industry now 38 years, so the joy of that is I've seen a lot and got to learn a lot and make a lot of mistakes. And so I have some things that I can help folks with where there's just what have I seen or what did I do and why did that not work. But I look for people who want to work hard and are willing to communicate. I think communication is a very almost necessity when you have the ability to, whether it's talking to your spouse, whether it's talking to your family, whether it's talking to your friends, whether it's talking to your coworkers, but to be able to honestly communicate. And so, I mean, most people want to succeed. I mean, I don't run into a lot of people. It's like, whatever, however I go. That's not how people stay. But sometimes people can be a bit misguided or a bit overzealous. I think that's the key. I think being willing to give honest and open feedback about what the strengths are, what that person's strengths really are, and what things that they can work on. As I have things that I'm still working on. So I think to me, it's having somebody who wants to be part of the team and is not self-focused. That doesn't mean you don't have desire and ambition. But when Shannon was in regulatory, she wanted to do what we wanted to do, and she gave her input, and I gave my input, and we, I don't really ever believe in using position to dictate, but to listen to each person in the circle, because they certainly have a different filter. Shannon's a lot smarter than I am. She went to UVA. That's a smart person. UVA. I'm just
you are Clemson and from Clemson.
That's right. So I have a Clemson law degree. The lawyers always say, you just think you got a Clemson law degree, Batson. That's just an opinion. That's not fact. But I think it's just that ability. There's several people I can look back in their careers who were just exceptional, smart and capable, but like they might be too elbowy around their peers, or they might be working more for their value or their. I can't tell you, in the career, several times I've had to sit down with somebody and say, you're really smart and you're really capable and you can do a lot, but people just don't like you. And they don't like you because of how you behave in the group, or when you behave outside of the group, or you're working for you and not working for the team. And until they can trust you, you won't have the support. And you can't advance in leadership without the support of the folks that you live with, work with, and see every day. People need to want you to succeed. That doesn't matter that somebody else doesn't want to succeed, but if you treated them right, if you communicated fairly, you worked together strong, arm in arm. When you achieve a certain level of success, there's a celebration for that. There may be some mourning on my side if somebody got a job that I wanted, but nonetheless, there's celebration that they got there. And sometimes things work differently. Timing, you heard, as Shannon was talking about, so it's just sometimes timing. What you don't get today doesn't seem like it makes sense to you today. In 6 months, the whole planet can change, the whole horizon can change, the whole.
We've certainly seen that, yeah.
Right, and so just being ready and willing and able, and that's another thing that you look for in employees is, my approach to the job is when someone asks me, that's a leader in our company, I need you to do this for me. My answer is, okay, I'll do that for you, and I start that job, and then I start working to figure that out. I'm not an expert on any of the particular fields, but common sense goes a long way in life, and willingness to work hard takes you a long way, and then a critical ability to listen to others who do know things and gather it and pile it together. So, you sort of learn that over time. Was raised that way in a lot of ways. I came up in the yes ma'am and no ma'am and yes sir and no sir generation, and so it's still in me. But we're first name basis at work, and I've adapted and actually enjoy that more. So it's not, Ms. Pierce, it's Shannon, and that's all good. And you're allowed, although you were commissioner, Jaber, it's just having relationships with people, but understanding your swim lanes and understanding what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and then giving people a chance. But to Shannon's point, I didn't have I'm an engineer. I went into regulatory. I didn't have a regulatory background, but they asked me to go in and to take on that and learn it. And I really love taking on a job that everybody else hates or is scared of, because you really can't do worse. Nobody else wants that job, so go do it, and you probably will be successful.
Just in case regulatory staff is listening, not that anyone hates being in regulatory affairs. We actually love it. Yeah. Bryan, I've seen you obviously in action for many years. And when we first met, you were doing some of the regulatory affairs work. And to take you back to the first comment you made, communication. I've observed two things about you, regardless of the position you've held: your ability to put humor into everything, which used to break the ice, build trust, and really got rid of whatever perception people had that industry folk might be, in that ivory tower, right? And the second thing, the second strength I thought was your ability to break it all down and speak in the most simple terms related to any of the issues we were trying to address as an industry. And so for the folks listening in and watching, at what point did you realize that's what you had to do?
I communicate like I would want to be communicated to. So,
dummy it down for me. Okay.
It takes that sort of realization. I am just a South Carolina boy who went to Clemson, as you and I tease about with your Seminoles, which you used to whip up on us and stuff.
I know, it's
not so much now. It's okay. Yeah, I haven't heard from you in a while on that. But if you can't laugh at yourself a little bit, I think you need to go back and look in the mirror. I mean, life has a lot of fun in it. Life has if you can't laugh and have fun, you're going to be miserable. Nobody wants a dour face and unhappiness. I do think breaking things down simply is important, because no disrespect to our industry. It is an energy industry. A lot of it is basic, but we get too hung up in acronyms and terms and this and that. But what we're trying to do is make people's lives better, right? And so we're providing, in our case, natural gas within Southern Company Gas, and we got a super great product, super affordable, the most environmental, obviously carbon-based product, but it has been the solution to greenhouse gas reduction in the United States for the last decade, and it will be here for as long as I will be on this earth and past that, because it's here, it's on our continent, and we control it. And we know how to make it better, and we can do it better. We can achieve net zero across our footprints. Southern companies have absolutely targeted net zero, but it doesn't mean natural gas is not part of the solution. We are part of the solution, and I think time will prove that out. A lot of people are taking a lot of positions now that probably sound noble, but they're not practical. And I come back, because of who I am, let's be pragmatic and practical. So natural gas is part of the energy solution. We will be here. We're foundational, and we allow the renewable energies to thrive. I'm not threatened by renewable energy. Natural gas is part of making it successful. But if you're going to have industry, if you're going to have jobs, if you're going to create things, if you're going to keep homes warm. Today I'm sitting in Naperville, Illinois. Let me tell you, Shannon lived here, so she's a better expert than I am. It gets chilly up here. When you get in a rental car,
just a little,
it says 0. So if you ever get in a rental car and it says 0 on the little outside temperature, that's not normal. And if you live in Florida, for all the Florida women in energy, it's really cold. So, the reality is natural gas is a strong energy product, and it's part of keeping homes warm and safe, and people can afford that. And it's the most cost-effective way to heat these homes. So natural gas will be part of the solution. I just think that our willingness I'm not threatened by clean energy. I'm not threatened by trying to be net zero. I'm committed to it. And so as a company, if we commit to it, we can do it. I've seen nothing that we can't do, and we will do this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Shannon, there's an audience question for you that I've got to get to after we set the stage. Well, let's talk about your intentions to grow Florida natural gas in the Florida market, and then I'll go to the audience question.
Great. So SouthStar plans to continue growing our Florida natural gas portfolio. We're focusing on meeting our customer needs and providing excellent customer service. And as Bryan said, natural gas is a foundational fuel and an important part of the energy mix. And it's important for our customers, especially our commercial and industrial customers in Florida. Natural gas is being used to meet their operational needs so they can serve their customers. But we do also recognize that our customers are having an increased focus on the environment and environmental stewardship and sustainability. And at Southern Company, as Bryan talked about, we have a strong track record around our commitment to environmental stewardship and environmental sustainability. And we've set a net zero target. And so at SouthStar, and we just recently launched a product that we're very excited about, and it has been launched in Florida, and it's called Greener Life for Business. And Greener Life for Business allows us to help our customers meet their environmental sustainability goals. It's a carbon offset program that allows participants in the program to achieve net zero related to their carbon emissions associated with their natural gas usage. So we see tremendous opportunity in Florida. We love being a part of the Florida community and the business community, and look forward to continuing partnering with our customers and our future customers to meet their needs.
Well, selfishly, for many, many reasons, I want you back in Florida. As our governor likes to say, we are open for business, but also I miss the two of you. So we've got to get you back here. So here's the audience question. So relevant right now. Great question. What are you doing to address the prohibition on natural gas in buildings? That whole conversation about the natural gas debate and not allowing this part of the energy sector.
Shannon, you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, well, I'll let you go first, Bryan.
I'll try to be quick. What I would say, Lila, is I think it's well-intentioned and poorly guided. So I understand what they're trying to do, which is reduce the carbon footprint. We can do that, and natural gas can still be a part of that. And so I think many of our states, like Tennessee, Georgia, have already passed laws that actually makes fuel choice. I mean, I think consumers are smart. People know what they want, and they know how to make wise decisions and make wise choices. Our Georgia market is a deregulated market. They can pick from more than a dozen marketers to buy their gas. So consumers are savvy. They can understand what they want. And I can assure you that any city that bans natural gas, the commercial kitchen folks will be unhappy with them, and they will hear from them frequently. But natural gas is not the problem. It is actually part of the solution. I do get it's probably a symbolic move, but I think that that's misguided, and that legislation is taking place in numerous states across the U.S. that says, don't take away consumers' right to choose. And I think that's clearly where we said, let the customer decide how they will heat their home, cook their food, heat their water, and natural gas is an option. We can still deliver all that gas into San Francisco, and they can do steps that make it a net zero piece, whether that's buying renewable natural gas and actually burning gas that was otherwise escaping into the atmosphere. They can cook dinner with that. That is helping the environment. So I think the bans are misguided, but well-intentioned maybe.
Bryan, you mentioned my role on the PSC. It doesn't seem like that long ago when we were, as a commission, promoting more natural gas, right? Because we wanted to remove our country from the dependence on foreign fuel, right? Yeah. And at the time, it was getting the companies off of the reliance of oil. We were looking at clean coal technology, and which the companies were more willing to do as opposed to natural gas. And here we are now, successfully not just embracing the abundance of natural gas, but also the way that natural gas now can play a role in renewable. And so let's take what you just said and segue into how are you addressing the needs related to sustainability and green energy, and frankly, your corporate responsibility to meet ESG, right?
All right. Well, I'm going to let Shannon kick off first because she's in a competitive market, so she can tell you what marketers are doing. But the one statistic I'll give everybody to make it pragmatically understandable, which is how I have to do it for me, Since 1998, we've added 20% more customers. I was here before that, and I've been here during that whole period of time. 20% more. People want our product. It's very reliable, it's resilient, and it's coming to the house. You don't have to go fill it up somewhere. It's there, it's on, and very dependable, very affordable because of how smart and capable the U.S. is and how much we've seen just technology evolve. And technology is going to evolve to help solve a lot of the environmental challenges. But our methane footprint is reduced by 50% in the same time we've added 20% more customers. We can do it, and we are doing it, and we will achieve the 2050 net zero. So I'll kick it back to Shannon.
So from a competitive retail natural gas side of the house, we are focusing on how do we create a culture of innovation so that we can create products and services that our customers would like to see in order to help meet their environmental sustainability goals. Environmental stewardship and sustainability is certainly important to us as a company, and so we know it's also important to our customers. And so I mentioned the Greener Life for Business product. We actually have that product on the residential side as well. But again, in Florida, because the market here, we only serve commercial and industrial customers. And also, if anyone wants to learn more about Greener Life and Greener Life for Business, feel free to contact me. I believe my contact information will be shared. And we will certainly introduce you to those products. The other thing we're doing is thinking about, our natural gas supply mix and how do we acquire more renewable natural gas into our portfolio. And so there's a number of things that we're doing and really focused on to make sure that, again, we're doing our part to help our company meet our environmental sustainability goals, but also help our customers meet their goals as well.
Who wants to take this question on from the audience? What is RNG? Which I'm glad they're making us slow down and talk about that. The three of us.
I'll start and we can talk a little bit. The one thing I'd say is, we've been focused on what I call it social responsibility for as long as I can remember, and that is morphed and changed as we learn more or as the nation focuses on different things. We helped found in 2014 a group called Our Nation's Energy, or One Future. And our focus has been to make sure that the natural gas that we take out of the ground arrives and is used at the customer's house. Today, we deliver 99.9% plus of the molecules that come out of the ground, come through our pipe, and go to our customer. I would challenge anyone to go look at anything that's transported from anywhere that far away to say that you were actually getting 99.9% of it. So we're focused on that, and we're buying gas, and the producers are focusing on that, and they're trying to make sure that what they're taking out of the ground stays within the removal process and is passed on to the utilities. So we're all focused on it. Nobody doesn't care, and nobody's a little flame coming out of it. That's because there's natural gas being sort of created by the natural decomposition. So that's methane that would be going into the atmosphere, and methane is more harmful to the atmosphere here than carbon molecules. So instead of just flaring that or allowing that to go into the air, if you go by a dairy farm, if you go by, as we would say in the South, a hog farm, I'm sure it has a fancier time than that, but that's what it really is. When you go by any livestock facilities, there's a fair amount of manure that you will notice that as you drive by. And again, as that decomposes, it creates methane. And so what you do is you capture that methane that first would have gone to the atmosphere to be harmful. You clean it a little bit, and it's pretty close to pipeline quality, but you clean it up a little bit, and you dry it out, make sure there's no moisture in it, and you put it in the pipeline and you burn it, just like natural gas. We own a place called Meadow Branch. It's a large landfill in Tennessee. We take the gas out of the ground, pipes coming from all over this place there where the actual, and they take and dump refuse. It creates the gas. We gather the gas, we scrub it, clean it, and put it into the line. So not only are you taking methane out of the atmosphere that would otherwise be going there, you're sending it to a customer who can burn it. And so that's a renewable natural gas. If you take that gas and actually put it in a vehicle to burn it, you get a negative carbon footprint. It's just not net zero. It's net negative, because you've now taken something like, say, a diesel truck that would have burnt that. It's running off of a gas. It actually is full cycle. If you look at waste management in Atlanta, they will drive around in their refuse trucks, running on natural gas,
Right.
and they're buying renewable natural gas that is being created by the landfills that they put this gas and putting it back in the car. I mean, that's the circle of life. That's the natural gas circle of life.
I'm visualizing a one pager there, Bryan, with that chart, right? With a great tell your story slide there. You know, you remember when we used to do tours for and with stakeholders of your LNG facility in Macon is the one that's closest to us, and the power of the tour. I actually discovered a picture of that recently. Look at that. That story, just being able to do the tour as you are explaining something as complicated as liquefied natural gas. I'm reminded as you speak about RNG, are you taking stakeholders to see that circle of life?
Fully capable. We had a large tour, probably 10 people there 2 weeks ago. So yes, people are now interested in seeing it. Looking at that tank brings back some memories. There's a lot of people that say they want to go to the top of the tank.
Yeah.
But when they get on the steps and start proceeding up to the top of the tank, sometimes their opinion changes. But again, the human race, we are pretty smart at figuring things out. Liquefied natural gas is taking gas and making something that's gas into a liquid, and you reduce it in size. It's a 600 to 1 ratio. 600. So for every unit of liquid, you get 600 gas units, and that's why you can store so much that way. So again, that's not something that I'm sure they were doing in 1854 when they started, 56 when they started Atlanta Gas Light, but lo and behold, look what's evolved. So all these things around technology, sustainability, they are going to evolve because people are after it, and when there's a market, there's a way. Shannon can sort of speak to what people are asking for in the market.
Yeah, I'll just add that, what we're focused on at SouthStar is really building our capabilities around, one, continue to educate ourselves about the various opportunities around environmental sustainability products. And again, in particular with RNG, looking for partnerships. Bryan mentioned, landfill gas facilities that are out there. Some of those facilities are owned by Southern Company Gas. And so we're looking at, what are those opportunities that exist for us to partner with renewable natural gas suppliers so that we can continue to expand our portfolio and meet our customer demands for these types of products and services.
Absolutely. So they're asking for sustainable fuel resources. And RNG is just one component of that, Shannon, right? How are you educating your customers and your stakeholders about the power of your ability to participate in these conversations, right? Because we always think of green energy, right or wrong. Most of the consumers are thinking green energy, electric. Are you pouring some resources into making sure that there's plenty of communication regarding, renewable natural gas or the affordability of natural gas and the sustainability that can come with using natural gas?
So one of the things that Southern Company Gas has done recently is, one, we recognize that while we have been committed to environmental sustainability and stewardship for many years and have done a lot, in particular modernizing our system to make sure that we're being responsible, we have done a great job of telling our story and educating our stakeholders. And so one of the things that we did as a team that reports to Bryan that focuses on one, innovation, but two, also education and making sure that our stakeholders and our customers understand all the things that we're doing to make sure that we're doing our part to promote an environmentally sustainable future, and also making sure that our customers understand that, again, natural gas is a foundational fuel. And natural gas is still a very important part of the energy mix that our customers need. It's a clean source, but it's also still very safe and reliable. And we just need to continue to make sure that we make the time
Absolutely.
to educate our stakeholders and our customers.
And anyone who's interested in learning more or would like to talk to Shannon or seek out Florida Natural Gas as a provider, Shannon's contact information is on the bottom of the screen there. So I'm going to switch gears on you because this is such a leadership initiative of yours, your company's, that we really would be remiss if we didn't discuss it. Your CEO, Kimberly Green, has been very vocal about U.S. racial inequities, and frankly, I think took the leadership role in the energy industry speaking on the subject. So I know that that's probably impacted much of your company, from the messaging into the community to the initiatives that you launch. We're going to learn more about it as you both participate in Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum in October in Orlando. Thank you both for sponsoring, for participating, for your leadership. But for purposes of today, talk about what that has meant to each of you, but also in terms of your company's role in leadership in the conversation. Shannon, let's start with you. I know she's launched Fueling Equity, for example, the conversation, but your messaging, the entire company's message has changed, I think.
Absolutely. So first, we had a very strong culture around promoting diversity and inclusion for many years at Southern California Gas. But what the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery did for us is caused us to take a step back and re-examine ourselves as a company around, what's missing, what are we doing to make sure that we're also fueling equity and talking about social justice. And so the first thing we did was we sort of kind of, again, took a step back, had a period of self-reflection, and had a lot of internal conversations, which Kim talked about as being courageous conversations, just getting people together to talk about just what they're feeling, their frustrations. And, it took it was a lot, I'll be honest, in terms of just the emotional toll that, our employees and our leadership team experienced during this time. But we knew that we didn't have a choice but to be in the moment, but not make it just a moment, and that commit to making sure that we're going to continue these conversations and that we're going to continue to strengthen our commitment to social justice. And so we launched Fueling Equity, and Fueling Equity is an internal and external commitment. We want to make sure that when we're looking at philanthropy, we've been a very generous company for many years, and while we have supported organizations that perhaps had a social justice mission, we weren't necessarily as laser focused on that mission and looking at the social justice impact of the organizations that we serve. And so, Kim got her management council together, and teams were formed to look at different areas from political support, again, philanthropy, and looking at our internal policies to make sure that we're not only talking about fueling equity, but that we're actually living it and practicing it and being consistent in our practices when we talk about equity.
Yeah, and Bryan, I know this has meant a lot for you for many years, and so do you want to talk about that? How you have been part of the conversation, but also some of the things that you've been tasked to implement as well.
Yeah, we've sort of got a little phrase when we're all talking to each other, and it's sort of listen and learn and then lead. And you sort of got to do it in that order. And I think sometimes when we're at work, we're all focused on work and getting the task done. But it still comes back to me a lot of common things that, really we should have learned in kindergarten about treating everybody the same, realizing we all have different processes, different experiences. Like Shannon grew up different than I did. I mean, she's in Virginia, so that's different than growing up in South Carolina. She's a minority female. I'm a white male. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. That was a completely different era. And Shannon didn't grow up in the 60s and 70s. So I'll give her that cover on that. So she can throw it into my age group by age stretch. Not that anybody would guess that. But just being willing to understand that you have different experiences in life, but we can learn from each other. And then so being willing and having hard conversation, I think Shannon's point was important. One of the things we do now, again, I go back to pragmatic things. When we start meetings, we have a safety moment where we talk about what keeps you safe. And then we have a DEI moment, which we talk about diversity. And it is not just a black and white thing. It is talking about the differences in people. There's difference. Look, in my house, I've gotten some teasing text. Florida women in energy. What are you doing on Florida women in energy? You're not a woman. Well, in my house, I'm the only man, and my brother's the only man in his house. And I've had 2 female CEOs. So I understand how to work with women. And my wife would tell you I don't necessarily understand how to talk to them because I don't always do a very good job of being a husband in my communications. But I think just being willing to listen and understand people do have different experiences and making people feel comfortable. And I think Shannon has been here during the time when we've been deliberate about making sure that, if we're doing interviews, we have a diverse panel. When we're going to hire, we make sure that we are hiring for fit, the person fits. And we don't hire for race or sex or height or anything. But the reality is everybody's a little different, and the better mixture we have, the better we are. And that goes back to your leadership question earlier. If I look around the room and everybody looks exactly like me, you're going to get solutions that look exactly like me. And that goes with age as well. I've got a 27-year-old. Her solution to things is not anything like how I think of things, completely different. She's just in a totally different, this YouTube age and this influencer age, all these things, but I can learn from her, and I do learn from her. I can learn from people who had different experience, acknowledging that people have had some bad experiences, people's had some good experiences, but the reality is we're all at Southern Company Gas, we all want the same thing. We want a strong, responsible company that delivers and gives our customer a great product at a great price. And, our product has a diversity component to it in that a natural gas home is $900 cheaper a year to run than an all-electric home. Well, that makes a difference in a lot of people's lives. And so, our product makes a difference as well. So I think it's just being willing to listen and be uncomfortable, as Shannon would say, just get in there and be uncomfortable and talk and know that things are different for everybody, but each person brings a background and a basis to help solve and solutions. I mean, well, you come from a different background as well, right? And so it's just all of us having different aspects of life and blending that together and getting great solutions. In the end, we should be focused on our customers and communicating with each other and delivering into our society and leaving our community better than we found it. And we focus on that, and many of our gifts are targeted at an equity component. There's a lot of kids that, I didn't come up in the inner city. I didn't come up where the Boys and Girls Club like Melvin was his sort of lifeline to make it out of an area where he wasn't comfortable and be successful and get the education and chase the dream. America's a great place where we can chase the dream. We should all be helping each other chase that dream.
Thank you for that, Bryan. And Shannon, as a team member, when we hear, the Bryan Batsons of the world and the Kimberly Green take those leadership stands, not only is it good for the Shannons and the Lilas of the world, but it helps us recruit new talent, doesn't it? It helps us bring other people in that look like us, right? That and to represent that this is a great company to do business with and a great company to work with. And so thank you both for your leadership. So we're running out of time. I want to ask you this, but if you are interested in this conversation, you have to come and see Bryan and Shannon at the forum October 26th, where Bryan and Shannon are going to open up the forum with a fireside chat on this very issue. So we're excited to have them there. I have to ask you this one last question. It's not uncommon for us to have college students listening in to the program. And the question we always get from second year college students, what advice would you give to a college student wanting to enter into the energy industry? Where do they start? What do they need to do?
So I'll start. I'd say one, continue to be that student. Continue to seek out opportunities to learn about the industry and the opportunities that exist in our industry. And the Florida Women in Energy Forum is a great place to do that. So finding those opportunities, like, conferences and forums, like a tremendous forum that Lila puts on, is one way to do that. Next, I say, connect and build relationships. I have grown so much in this industry because of the relationships that have supported me and helped me learn about this industry. And then I would say, once you get those opportunities to be a part of this industry and start to grow and develop in the industry, pay it forward. We have a tremendous responsibility, I believe, that to whom much is given, much is required. And because of the opportunities I have been given and the support that I have received, I have no choice but to pay it forward. And I just have to say that you, Lila, are a shining example of all of these things. You continue to educate yourself about this business so that you can be a trusted advisor to your clients. And I am a beneficiary of that. You are the epitome of being a good connector of people and bringing people together and finding ways for us all to support each other. And you absolutely pay it forward. So I personally appreciate you and learn from you every time I get a chance to be in your presence. And I just encourage students to think about those three things. Again, taking advantage of opportunities and being a student, connecting with others, and paying it forward.
Yeah, I think Shannon hit it on the head, Lilo. I guess what I'd add is it doesn't really matter in the energy industry what your major is. Yeah, we're sort of have some technical stuff, but I'm looking at two lawyers who are not lawyering now. And I'm an engineer. My undergrad is civil engineer, but
and we still hang out with you.
Yeah, and you still, I don't bore you into absolute tears, and y'all have loosened me up some, so I'm much more.
And we laugh at your jokes.
Enjoyable, yeah, whether you like them or not. But you still, as a human, as a person, I just want to focus on excellence. I think as a student, while you're a student, be very, very good. Don't just do halfway. Go 100%. Do it. Study enough hours to get the good grades. You can get the good grades. You wouldn't be there if you weren't smart enough to do it. And socially interact with other folks and understand people and learn from people and get comfortable with who you are, who other people are. And then, as Shannon said, you might go to some of the events that are out there if you want to start really working your way into the system and start understanding, what's going on out there. Read a little bit, visit some websites. There's a lot of websites on all the energy industries, and we all are intertwined in some way. It takes a little bit of everything, Lila, and I think we all have to be committed to doing a little bit of everything. I drive a natural gas car and I have for over a decade. My wife drives an electric hybrid that's electric and gasoline. And so, our house, we're pretty doggone environmentally friendly. I don't think I'm net zero yet, but I'm pretty environmentally friendly. But it's just because we each do a little bit and do our part. And I think that Southern Company's committed to doing its part of making its energy components net zero by that 2050 goal. And I think the students you have to do your part as a student to get into your class, learn your lessons. I sound like the older guy, I'm the 60+ guy, and that's okay. But do what you do well,
right?
Because it will follow you, and you are laying a footprint. And don't be scared to try, and don't be scared to fail.
That's right.
And just step in and go, and you will do well. You know, Shannon didn't sit down and say, hey, I think I want to go over to the unregulated side. That's my dream. Somebody said, hey, Shannon, we think you'd be good at that. Will you do that? And trust that some people are looking at you and see things in you that you may not see, and or they also can see down the road further than you can see, and know that that experience will help you get to the next experience. And that's true,
so true.
Whether you're a student or you're my age at 60. Either way, there's people that can see down the road, and you don't know what's coming tomorrow.
It's so true. Shannon, neither one of us went to law school thinking we'd work in the energy industry. So, Bryan, our college students would be very interested in this tidbit. Where did you bought your CNG car before it was cool. How did you get your first CNG car?
I bid for it on the internet. It was a meter reading car at a local municipal meter reading set, and I paid $3,500 for it. And it's cheap to run, and it's the lowest emission vehicle there is. And in Georgia, it's like a golden jewel, because we have some pay lanes that I get to ride in free that go fast while everybody else is sitting still looking at each other. So I ride right by you in my natural gas vehicle, headed to where you wish you were going when you're sitting in the slow lane.
To that Clemson football game.
That's right.
There you go. There you go. Thank you both. What a treat. This has been a reunion, but so informative. I appreciate both of you. Shannon, thank you for your comments, but the truth is I've learned from each of you so much, and will always be grateful for the friendship and for your leadership. I'll see you soon. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.